Well, here we are, 10 o'clock UK live. So, I'm going to always try and start these chats with why I'm going to look at what I'm going to look at. And it's the Chronicles, and it's me, and it's looking at things. And when I was a kid, growing up, I remember I was always fascinated by like horror stories and westerns. I remember watching in the UK, you had Hammer House Horrors, Monday movie nights. My dad used to let me stay up from when I was about 12 onwards, and I was reading Western books like Louis L'Amour, and I'd read Treasure Island, and I was about to read Lord of the Rings, and then I was getting into Marvel comics, and then with the Marvel comics, I kind of read them all, DC as well. I used to do a paper round, and we used to have to wait for the American imports, the DC more ones. And I remember my favourite characters were like, back then, was like Silver Surfer, Blade, and it wasn't really Batman. It was more Silver Surfer and Blade, and sometimes Thor, right? Well, you think about each one of them as kind of mythical, right? And yes, Blade was brilliant because he killed vampires with a wooden stake. And it was cool. And even then, I didn't understand that it was a black character. I didn't know. I didn't kind of care. I just assumed it was another hero from America. And it got me to thinking today, because I landed on that thought. As you get older, you tend to get, if you become more cynical, you lose that fascination with things that are maybe sometimes scoffed at, maybe you've looked at. And a couple of those things are like what I've always grown up and there've always been stories around, like the Lochness monster, Bigfoot. And to me, it's always been like kind of magic. I don't want to have the illusion spoiled because I want to think if there's a trick out there, I don't want to know what it is. So I don't really want to know if there is or isn't a Bigfoot, if there is or isn't a Loch Ness monster. But I thought, you know what? I'll grab a couple of videos that I've not seen before. I'll look at them and I'll have a chat and see what it's about. So the one I got first, and it's just totally at random because it pulled in ghosts as well and that paranormal element. If you think about Blade. So it is Paranormal Bigfoot, the Tara Harris medium, 76,000 subscribers, and had 1 million views. So either 1 million people have watched it to scoff it, or there's a lot of people watching it because they're Tara Harris fans. I don't know who she is. The only thing I remember seeing about mediums in the last 10 years is when Darren Brown, the mentalist, magician, trickster, has spent time destroying mediums. And I always found it, at first I was like, yeah, go and get them. And I was like, okay, what if? And this is a what if moment. I'm open to it. Now, I may find some of it funny, but I'm not here to laugh at Tara Harris. I don't know her. She's done no harm to me. This is just a video she's posted, and it's got some traction. So I thought I'll have a look at it. So let's get into it.
What they've told me is that there are others, and they're like people. They tried to explain it. They showed me in a way like with people, there's bad ones and there's good ones. It's the same for them. Mm-hmm. There's bad ones. They come from the same place, but there are bad ones and there are good ones.
So my guess is she's saying that the Bigfoot that she's come into contact with mirrors human society, good ones and bad ones. Okay. Seems fair.
My name's Tara, and I am a mother. And when I realized that I could communicate with the dead, I started doing psychic work and helping other people communicate with loved ones, and also crossing spirits over. And then this last year, I saw a Bigfoot. And when I saw him, the first time I saw him with my eyes, and then I've seen him in my head a few times. And I can communicate with him quite regularly up here. I grew up in the woods up here, and my grandfather was a logger. He spent a lot of time up here. And when he passed away, he's one of the first people
Where is she in the woods? Because I think the question I often think to myself is with these kind of things, the immediate question that springs to mind is, it's a story of law. It's been around for generational stories. So is she already predisposed, pre-programmed to believe in it? And when she says, when I first saw it, where did she see it? What did she see? Because I was thinking, if I saw it, I'd probably tell nobody, because you'd all think I was a crackerjack. You know, and the cynical part of me thinks, yeah, you've got a whole team of people working with you. But that's cruel, and it's not needed. Because she isn't hurting me. She isn't hurting anybody, you know?
Who came to us to help us, and he helps us on a regular basis do clearings. We help ghosts cross over to the other side. And we also communicate with people that are on the other side and do readings for people that have lost their loved ones. But when Grandpa...
If she does the readings for free, then she's in my books. I doubt it. And I think that's the biggest thing, isn't it? When somebody who does something that's so powerful, and I've seen stories, and I've looked into it in the past a little bit, where people have had their life savings drained by unscrupulous people because they keep going back, and that helps build that narrative. Darren Brown will talk about that. Once you've got the conversation going, people will tell you more than you need to know just by talking to you. And these people are clever, and I'm not. This is not her, but this is my skepticism going in when I saw paranormal and Bigfoot. But I want to keep an open mind, because there's some things, like I said, when I was a kid, you were going into that story world, and you kind of knew it was real, but part of you was like, I want it to be true. You know, I'd love to have met Blade. Me and Blade would have gone on adventures and would have killed vampires. Because when I was watching Hammer House of Horrors, you know, Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, and later on I was watching the werewolf movies, the early ones, right back, all the way. I got into all the early movies and everything. Part of me was Van Helsing, you know, on that adventure. I was never Dracula. I was never that. I don't think that's something men aspire to be. We always want to be the hero, right? The archetype. And I never dismissed it. I never, I've been to Romania. I wanted to get up to the castle just because I couldn't get there. To be fair, I didn't have enough time. And I've never sat and thought about whether the lore of vampires and Vlad the Impaler, where it comes from, how much of it's steeped in reality and how much is just our bloodlust and projection. So there's a part of me that still wants to not just dismiss everything, to live in a world of cynicism, I guess. But I will ask questions of myself in this journey to who she is, not who she is as a human being. I don't know her. She's probably beautiful. She's a mom. I don't think she's hurting anybody, but she's telling a story.
Papa passed away, he told us to come up and go to the mountains and do, there's a sacred spot up here that we can work, and it's different than any other spot. There's several of them in the world, but you have to have that one spot. It keeps the bad energy out so you can focus on the good energy. So he basically just told us which way to drive, and we just followed. We just went in the direction he said, and we stopped where he told us to stop and found the spot that we were supposed to work in. And so we've been doing that for a few years. And that's when we were working up here, just doing a regular thing, when we saw Bigfoot. We were up here doing a clearing one day, and we heard a noise, and we looked over.
So the cynical side of my brain is like, you found a new angle to pursue money. Yeah, so you're going to have paranormal conversations with Bigfoot. You see, you're going to get all the Bigfoot people now coming to want to talk to Bigfoot, and you've got your medium base. But let's stay open, because we know nothing. I mean, I watched the podcast with Jordan Peterson, and he was with I think it was either a Dutch neuroscientist or a German neuroscientist. It wasn't English speaking, but had brilliant command of the English language, and I forget who it was. But they had like a 2-hour thing about consciousness and how we perceive the world. And whilst I grasped the outer edges of it, that we bring things into reality as we see them, I was like, oh, Jesus. It was much more than that. It was a philosophical debate, it was a neuroscientific debate, and it was steeped in all sorts. So who am I to say she hasn't actually seen Bigfoot in a paranormal element? Because we don't even know why we see how we see the world. Not really, not in its truest sense. We bring things into existence.
Over, and it wasn't like 20 feet away, and he was standing there, and he's just standing there staring at us, and it scared us because we didn't know there were any here, and we'd never seen one or never even thought they existed, whether they did or they didn't. So it was kind of scary at first, but then we realized that he's just looking at us. He isn't being aggressive. He's not throwing things at us or anything. So we kind of looked at him. Then we talked about it. So we looked at each other and we looked back. He was gone. Didn't make a noise, nothing. And so we're like, well, crap, they exist. So that was kind of scary, but at the same time really cool because we actually saw him. So after that,
Where was your phone? Everyone has a phone, right? They're out in the woods. Please tell me you had your phone. I hope at some point she says, I've got pictures.
Come up about once a week, and we came up and we were sitting there and we started hearing knocking sounds. And it would knock, it would start to the right and knock, and then there'd be another one. It'd go all the way around us, but really quick. So we're wondering who's doing it and how is it going so quickly around us? And so we asked the other side, because we communicate with the other side, and they told us that it's actually not Bigfoot that's doing it. There's another creature that lives in the same dimension.
What?
They do the knocking to take attention away. And so they can pop in and out of dimensions just like Bigfoot can to kind of scare you or, make you look a certain place, kind of draw your attention. And they were just showing us what they do. It wasn't to scare us or run us out. They were just kind of showing us how what the knocking is. So then after that, we saw them a couple more times, and I can see him in my head, and I saw him and his family, a little one and a medium one and a adult female. And they come to this area. The other side told us they come to this area from their dimension because they like it here. And then...
So, let me get this right. There's multi-dimensional creatures. One of them's Bigfoot. The other one's there because it's showing off what it can do. She can see them when they come through the dimension in her mind and physically, and she's describing a family, okay, in a circle, like a Stonehenge circle. Okay. I'm beginning to lose some faith.
And they showed me what their dimension looks like, and it's very similar to ours, but they have some differences. The trees are different. There's also a stone that he actually gave me, and there's this stone that they have
Where's
there
the
in
stone?
big pillars, and it's like a crystal-looking stone.
Where is it?
And that they use that somehow for energy in their dimension. And so we've seen, he actually left a piece of that for me, and in the shape of his foot, actually, which is kind of cool. And I had brought my daughters up one time, and she didn't know anything about it. We hadn't talked about them with her, and she saw them too. And she gave the exact description. The little kid, the medium one, and the female and the male. And she saw them up in the trees behind where we had seen them. When we first saw Bigfoot,
How did her daughter see them? Did she see them paranormally through her mind in a vision quest? Or did she see them physically, and did the mum see them at the same time? Getting confused. Don't like it when I'm confused. If she just told me she could communicate through one dimension, and that's how she saw them interdimensionally in her mind, I can grasp the concept, but this switching's confusing me.
The other side told us they prefer to be called Aeolin.
Aeolin.
And it's the name that they prefer to be called, and also where they come from. It's
What?
the same name. And they actually don't like to be called Bigfoot. It's like a derogatory term to them. So we just call them...
So they're victims. They're oppressed. Please don't go down this route, please. Because I still want to see, if she takes me through to just paranormal, I can... Because that's what I wanted to explore, was the paranormal, not the interdimensional. I know that's paranormal if you like it, because the idea of multidimensional isn't, can we access another dimension? Well, people talk about it through mushrooms, through psychedelics, and I'm not going to dismiss that because I'm not. In self-induced states through things like meditation, that's well recorded. Yeah. There's lots of things we don't understand about what our brain can do. And I'm not talking about this, only we use 10%. I'm not a neuroscientist, I'm not going to comment on that. We've all seen Lucy, right? Good film, but the first woman, the first primate, the first one to stand up. But where is she going to take me?
Aeolin, which is
Aeolin.
Ayloyn, and they spelled it for us. They do not speak to us in English. The way that I communicate with them is telepathic, and I have heard them make noises. And he's the male that we've seen. He's actually said my name in his language, which is a grunting sound, and I couldn't recreate it. But they don't speak in English. The other side has to translate what they're saying. Otherwise, he'll telepathically give me symbols, or he'll show me facial expressions, or he'll show me something that will let me know what he's talking about. But for words, the other side has to translate that. One of the first things that he showed me was that when the Native Americans lived on this land, and they lived directly on the land that we do our work on, and he showed me a Native American sitting on the ground, crisscross, and him or others like him sitting with the Native Americans. And the way that he showed me that they communicated was they would stick their hands on top of the Native Americans' hands, and they were able to transfer energy that way and communicate that way. And they lived with them, and they interacted with them on a regular basis. And it was very prevalent up in this area. They actually showed me the areas in which they would be with the Native Americans up here. And it was easy for them to communicate because the Native Americans, they said, were so open to the spiritual world and other dimensions. And they were able to receive the messages very easily like I received them. It was the same type of way. One of the reasons Aeolin has told me that they come here, and this family in particular, is for food. The food here, I don't know if it's better or it's more plentiful here than on their dimension, but when they did show me their dimension, I didn't see any food there. There was plants and that sort of thing, but the wildlife, from what I saw, there was not as plentiful as it is here.
What?
They also like it here. They just simply like being here. So it's very easy for them to get here, and they like it here. They like to be here. So that's one of the reasons that they come here. So they've showed us that they can go in and out. It's kind of strange. It's like they'll be there 1 minute and they're not. It's almost like a bright light that I can see in my head, but you can also hear a popping sound. So it's like a flash of light, and they'll go through like a door, and they can come right back out. They can also... they can be there and you can't see them. They can be on the other side of the veil, so to speak, and see you, but you can't see them.
What?
But when they actually come in as a physical form, it's like you can hear a popping sound, and a bright light will kind of flash. And I've seen it as a white light. So they've never...
So have they told her I hope we get to the point where they tell her how they can interdimensionally travel and we can't. Or not... maybe maybe she'll say there are other people. Because right now, it just sounds bat crazy. Because it sounds like I'm not saying she is, it sounds crazy. Because it's all over the place. You've got the other side translates for her, okay? That communication through symbols, messages, and sort of energy. Okay, okay, yeah, that's real. You have your flight or fight response. I can tell if someone's going to be just by their energy projected. You have that gut feeling. It's actually professionally accepted in many different services I've worked with that your gut feeling matters. So, you get that when you walk into a room, you think, oh, well, you walk into a bar and you think, oh, the atmosphere is off. It turns out it is off. So yeah, I can get the energy thing. I'm not going to dismiss the telepathic thing, but I'm not sure about the translation thing, because why would you need translations if she can pick up on the symbols? That. So there's a little bit. So I hope she explains more. Because again, I don't want to dismiss it. I don't want to be, I don't want to be. Because why click on it if I haven't got an open mind? If I'm going to click on it just to slate it, don't bother. It's boring. Yeah, my sarcastic mind could slate this, but that's not open to sort of possibilities of things that I can't comprehend but could be real. That's what I'm trying to say. It's the first time I've really looked. I've saw bits on like Joe Rogan and stuff when he's talked about it, and Joe Rogan's like, I wish it was, but it can't be. Not in a sense of evolutionary, and the species would have died out by now, and we would have caught one, we would have seen one. The myth endures because it's perpetuated, because it's a story to tell. And what are people seeing? Bears walking up, brown bears walking, and, your mind can play tricks when it's in a state of fear. All of that is rational as well. So this is slightly more irrational. So I'm kind of keen to see where she rounds this up.
Never said that there's a message specifically, just that they like being here.
Okay.
And he did give me the impression, because it's telepathic, so it's hard. There's no words when he comes in.
So it's thoughts.
So he did give me the impression that he liked it how it was, and also at the same time, not how it is now, but also at the same time, he showed me that their age is different than how we age. So he can be much older than we are. So he could have been here long before we were born. They just don't age the same way. So he was making me feel like he wishes it was before and not now, because he misses how it was. And he relayed that to me, but not in words, so it's really hard to put into words.
Okay.
But he wishes that it was like that, because they used to have more communication with humans, and they're scared of humans now. They're scared of being hunted, and they're very particular on who they seek out. When the fires started, I say he because I only communicate with him and his son, which is the little one. I don't communicate with the mother or the teenage-aged one. But he relayed to me that they're very upset about it. And the emotions that it made me feel actually made me feel really terrible because I was feeling what he was feeling. And they're very upset about it, really sad about it and upset about it. And it bothers them. And they said humans are ruining everything. They're going to ruin this planet.
Oh, no,
and,
no.
I think they also said that, their food is...
Does she think humans are going to ruin the planet? Because we've had the Native Americans, climate change. Where's this going?
Depleted now in that area too, which they were upset about. Because they do jump from place to place. They don't just stay in this one place. They can actually go anywhere, because dimensions, they can go anywhere. But they like particular places, and he's told me that he likes it here. I didn't get any indication whether or not this area is in danger. They didn't say that it was, and they didn't say that there was going to be any fires. The other side has indicated that there won't be fires up here. That's what I've gotten from them, so I'm not worried about that. But they are upset about what's been happening on the other side with the fires and the ones that actually live over there, because there are a couple that did live in that area. Bigfoot, or Aeolin, as this one likes to be called, they're not apes. They're not humans that lived a long time, that were never, that stayed that way, or I'm not sure what you call them, so I can't really say. But they're their own species. They don't come from this planet. They're not. They were never here as a being that came from here. They're from somewhere else that visits here. So they don't really live here. They live in their own dimension. So it's not something that originated from this planet, but they've always been here. And from what they've showed me since the beginning of time, because they age differently, it's hard to tell how many, or I've never been told. But they're not an ancient ape or anything like that. They're not an ancient human. They're their own species. They're different from other dimensional beings because
But how did they get to the portals? Are they supremely intellectual? She hasn't explained the portals yet. Does she ask the question, how can you come through, can we come through?
they're solid. A lot of them that come here from other dimensions, they're not solid. You can't touch them, you can't feel them, you can't shoot at them, you know. So they're different in that way, which is we don't know why. We've never asked. Why are they solid? Why can we gather evidence? Why can we leave them things? They can leave us things, as opposed to other dimensional creatures or beings that you can't, they're just not a solid being like they are. But it's on purpose. They're here for a reason, and I think one of the reasons that they are here is because they have been here for so long and have lived with the Native Americans, and even before that. And they're a part of this world just as we are. And they like it here and they want to be here. They've told me that they do care about the human race, and it makes them really sad that we're destroying the planet.
Oh.
And they care enough that they actually used to interact with us. And they want to do that again, but there's so few, they don't trust anyone. And the way that they know they can trust somebody is the people that they approach, like myself and my partner that I work with, is because we look differently. It's an energy, and they can actually see that energy. So if they see somebody with that energy, they will approach and watch from a distance. And if they know that they can...
Is it only females that they'll approach? Because that energy?
trust them or interact with them telepathically, they can at least get a feel and know if they're going to want to interact with that person. It takes a very long time for them to get up to that, though. We were told it could be up to 6 months to a year before he'll even communicate with us. It happened a lot quicker than that, but they won't just approach anybody. There's other people that live in this area. There's at least one other person that lives in this area that they communicate with, that they trust. But it's an energy thing. It's how they look to them. And there's very few people that look that way to them. It's like an aura. So what they're seeing is like an aura, but it's different. The energy is more like, the best way to explain it, because I can see it, is a bright white light coming out of the top of your head. So it's not like an aura around the body. It's more like a shining bright light that they can see. It's almost like a torch, and it draws them to, just the same as it draws ghosts or other beings to a person. It's like that bright light that draws them to them. What they've told me is that there are others, and they're like people. They tried to explain it. They showed me in a way like, with people, there's bad ones and there's good ones. It's the same for them. Right. There's bad ones. They come from the same place, but there are bad ones and there are good ones. Most are good. They tried to make it clear that they're not out there to hurt anybody, but there are some that are violent.
It's just an absolute analogy to the human condition. So why would they, if they've been around so long and they're a species, so therefore they must have evolved emotionally and intellectually. So if they've been around since the beginning of time, does that mean no matter how many more millennia we're around, we'll never evolve out of violence? There'll always be good and there'll always be evil. Is that, because that's what I'm reading from this.
So they tried to show that there are violent people. There are also violent Bigfoot, just like there are good ones.
Yeah.
Responded some of the time as well with that, and then I don't know.
Did you all just hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, am I the only one that heard that?
No.
To be honest with you, I thought it was maybe like
here.
a hungry tummy or something.
I heard it with my ears. I don't know, unless it was his. It wasn't mine.
I heard that.
Okay, maybe you got it on audio.
Yeah, I did. We did.
So the way that it's
trees
changed my
fall
life,
in the forest,
talking to or communicating with Aolin, is that it makes me feel like there's things out there that most people could be afraid of, but I'm not afraid of it. And I feel like we're close. I can come up here and I can communicate with him, but I can also be at home. And if I try to think of him and call him, he'll come to me, which I never thought would be possible until it happened. So it's changed in the outlook that there's more out there that we just don't know about. There's things out there that we don't even imagine. I would have never imagined that he existed. And then once he did exist, I would never imagine that he would communicate with me, because I'm not any different than anybody else. So why me? I don't know. But I think he knows that I'm not out
Well, clearly you're different by your own statement. You can communicate with interdimensional creatures. You can communicate with the dead. And I'm not dismissing it. Who am I to say she can or she can't? But you are different.
Out to get him. I'm not out to get evidence, you know, to take pictures and try to get him caught, and he knows that. So I think he's more open to communicate with people.
Okay, she's answered the question why no pictures, because she won't take them. Okay, that's fair. In that scenario, in that context of that relationship she's developing, yeah, don't take pictures because it breaks trust. Okay, she got to that.
People who want the same thing as him. They want the safety of the forests. They want the safety of him and his family, which is what I want. So I think it's changed my life because there's just so much good out there that we don't even know exists. And he's part of that. And he takes care of the forest too, which is nice. I mean, they all do. Bigfoot, I think they're out there taking care of things and making sure that people don't come in here and ruin things. I guess that's probably why they throw rocks at people that are doing bad things. I don't know. But I think that they definitely take care of things, and it's changed my life knowing that they're there and I'm not afraid of them. And I feel safer actually being out here with him here rather than scared. They're aware when people are coming to search for them. If it's their area, they're going to be aware of that. Because they can see us, we may not be able to see them. So they're aware of it. The ones that are caught on camera, from what I've gotten, either don't care or it's a complete mistake. They're not paying attention. They're doing their own thing. But if they're used to being in one area and they're not roaming or foraging, they're usually pretty aware of people coming and going, and they can tell. Just like I can tell with energy, we can tell if there's humans up here because the energy's different. They can do the same thing. They have purposely made themselves known to people, especially to scare people out. So for instance, in the late 60s, when the two hunters caught the Bigfoot walking through, it looked like grass, and then stepped over a log.
All right.
She didn't care. She didn't care that they saw her.
That's been
she did
proven
not
a
care
fake.
that they were there. She knew that they weren't going to do anything to her, so it didn't matter that they were there. She knew that they weren't a threat either. So in the different dimensions, there's several different dimensions. Some people can feel vibrations. Some people can see the vibrations, which will look wavy. I see them as flashes if I see them open up. But they're at different levels. So the lower that you go,
I'm wondering if she's ever had like a CAT scan, brain scan, neuroscientifically. I wonder, to see how she reacts to stimulus, how her brain works. I wonder if she's ever allowed that. Or maybe she doesn't care and she doesn't want to prove to anybody that her brain's different. Because that's what she's saying. Just by her own interactions with things, her brain's different. Her perceptions are different. Her brain fires differently. Okay.
lower frequencies are denser. I can feel those easier than I can feel like the middle ones. And then
So if she was under a scan and they give her low frequencies, like low frequency noise, high frequency, beyond the auditory capacity, or subjected to vibrations, how would her brain fire? Differently? Is it working differently all the time? That would be good, wouldn't it? And again, don't want to dismiss her because she's got easier to listen to as she's gone on. And I guess that could be a little bit of nerves. And yeah, she's in front of a camera telling people a story. So I'm not sure whether her demeanour is about nerves or if she's thinking, Jesus, everyone's going to think I'm an absolute crackpot. Or maybe she is a crackpot. I don't know. I kind of don't care. That's not for me to put out there. I'm just getting into this Bigfoot thing, and I picked paranormal. I probably should have went to someone where they've got pictures, but I just think this is different. A different way to approach it. Normally it's that I saw it, it ran away, here's the picture from my shaky phone, and I heard it. Like that thing where the thing fell over in the woods. It's just a tree falling off a branch, nothing else. A bear, a deer, a raccoon. Yeah. Coincidence? No. Things move around in the woods. But a nice soundbite.
And I can feel the higher ones the easiest. Mm-hmm. They're a lighter. It's really hard to put into words. But not everybody can feel them or see them. If you're sensitive, you can usually feel or see that, or one or the other.
I wonder if people who've done psychedelic experiences out in the woods have actually seen Bigfoot. Is that anywhere out there? Let me know in the comments.
Sometimes both. They're afraid to be more known because there's so many people out to get them. And there are more people than you know. I was just told that. So there are more people that are out to get them. And not for honorable reasons like you.
Yeah, we'd put them in the zoo. We'd study them. We'd charge it. We'd live stream it. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, they would. We haven't evolved that much. We're still horrendously cruel people. But there's more cruelty than kindness.
They're out there to get a trophy to prove that they exist, and what they want is a dead body. They're not going to come if that's the case.
They'll take a dead body if they have to shoot it, but they'd rather get one live because that's big money. Yeah.
And that's what's going on. It's something, okay, I just got this, so I have to tell you. It's something about where those islands sit on the earth. And I don't know enough about this to tell you why, but it's something about where they're at. They actually don't have a problem with hardly any creatures. They won't go.
The question was, why aren't they in Hawaii? So I did some digging around before I came on, a little bit of prep work, to see if English folklore, because we would have been a relatively uninhabited island 1,000 years ago, right? But we still had a population here, huge ranges of forests, things like wild boar, wolves. Yeah, but there's nothing in our folklore about a Sasquatch. We've got it's a woolly something, but it's described as a man with long hair. Yeah, a hairy body, not as a Sasquatch, there's no reference to any type of Sasquatch creature. We've got kelpies, we've got all sorts of mythical lore creatures that that the pagans would have been involved with. So it's not just Hawaii.
Go there. There's something about where it sits. I really wish I knew more about geography and like lines and whatever, but there's something about that is why they don't go to that area. Because I'm seeing other places that they don't go. There's other islands and other places they don't go. So what I've been told is that they come from the same place, but they're different. So they tried to show me, because I asked, they showed me people standing in a row, African American, Asian, Native American. They showed me all the different people and said it's like this, but it's us. But they all come from the same place.
Oh.
I did
What?
ask that because I wondered after meeting them, why are some bad? Why are some good? Why do some look differently? Because I've seen them look differently in my head. And that's what they showed me to try to explain why it's different, but they come from the same place.
What?
I haven't seen them run on Earth, because they've never needed to, from what I've experienced myself. So I've only ever seen them pop in and out, and they're never running. So I couldn't really answer how they run because I've never seen that happen. Oh, the little ones. Yeah, I did see the little one, but I didn't see he was going in and out. So when he was when he was down in the ravine and he was running, he was going in and out of dimensions. He was popping in and out, going really fast. So it wasn't like he was running, but he was like, it's almost like, I would say floating, but not. But super fast, he would pop in and then pop out further up. So I couldn't tell you like what his body looked like because I didn't see it. Like visually, I saw him in my head going in it, running and going in and out. I can't explain that on a physical level because it was like he'd pop in and out. And so there'd be a big space where he was, I didn't see him. It was like jumping. So it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to explain. I can't really explain what they looked like, their legs looked like or anything
Trust me, it's hard to understand.
like that. From what I've personally experienced, their sense of humor is dry. So It's
What?
like if they're doing something silly, it's more like they want to see what it does. So like, what does this do?
Yeah, but where's the question? How are they able to come through dimensions? How, when did they first know they could do that? What gives them that ability? But could she follow them through one of those sort of stargates, if you like?
But it's not like our sense of humor where we do things to get a laugh. It's more like checking things out, kind of. I don't know how to explain that. It's not like they're going to try to make you laugh or do something silly to mess around with you. It's more like a curiosity rather than funny. And I think they vary just like humans vary. So today I was shown tuna fish in a can.
What?
First I was shown the fish, and in my mind I said I don't know what that is because I didn't know. And then they showed me a can of tuna. And that was their way of saying, can you bring this to me? And I think it was geared towards you. They don't like sardines.
They don't like sardines?
No.
Okay. Interesting.
No.
I don't like
Did they like pineapple on pizza? Just asking for a friend.
sardines either.
But they like sweet. They like sweet things.
Oh.
They like sweet and salty. They like fish. Pretty much what we like, but there's certain things, and I don't blame them. Sardines are disgusting. I don't blame them. They don't like those at all. But apparently tuna is what he wanted, so that's what he wanted you to bring him. But they like different things because his son likes peanut butter, but he does not.
Interesting.
So I don't know if they're all like that. I can only talk about the ones that I know.
Okay.
So with the symbols and the braiding and the sticks, they put them in different places. They lean them up against each other. They make different symbols. The only thing that I've been told is that that's their language. That's how they communicate, and they're trying to communicate with us on a physical level. So if somebody can't hear them or telepathically communicate with them, they leave symbols or different kinds of things around. And also
I want to see that stone that she's got off them.
so they gift things. So if they braid things and that, they'll leave them as gifts. I have a whole bunch of different symbols that I've seen, but I don't know what they mean, and I've yet to get what each one actually means. The only one that I know what it means is the X, and that's basically don't come here. It's a marking. I've seen it in different places up here in the mountains up here, and that's the only one that I've been clearly told this is basically a warning, and not just for humans, but for other Aeolin. Don't come here. But that's the only one I know at this time. I don't know what the others mean. There's been several I've seen, but I don't know what they mean yet. Orbs are interesting because orbs,
What?
they can be angels, ghosts, spirits, and they can be anything that comes from another dimension. It's not just one thing. They can be anything that has energy.
Am I going to have to go and find out what orbs are? Oh.
So, when people see Bigfoot and they're seeing orbs maybe at the same time or near the same time, they're seeing something that is in the same area.
Is that something that other Bigfoot channels will talk about? Orbs? I'm going to have to go and find out.
Yeah, because they're everywhere. I mean, spiritual creatures, spiritual ghosts, everything, they're all over the place. So it would make sense that something that's coming from another dimension, they're going to see things from other dimensions too, and pretty easily if they can see Bigfoot, especially if he came out of another dimension or something like that, or if they're prone to see spiritual beings or anything like that, they could see that with their eyes, but they are not related to Bigfoot. It's completely different. They don't come in as orbs. So the lesson to take from Aeolin or Bigfoot is that they're here.
They don't like to be called Bigfoot, and they communicate with her, but she's called them Bigfoot all the way through. So they're going to be hacked off with her.
Because they want to be here, and they're here, and they will communicate with people if you have the right intentions, and they know it if you do or you don't. But if people are out there trying to hunt them, and they're going to be out there destroying the forest and causing problems, you're going to see less and less of them. They're not going to come around.
Two things for this. There's a lot in there that I don't want to dissect. Go and watch it, guys. Either I've got no comprehension of the world, I have no understanding of the paranormal world or how valid it is or how much is out there, and my mind's not open to it, therefore I'm never going to comprehend it, or she is just delusional. Or I'm delusional and she's the one who's seeing reality. Okay? Either one I'm happy with, because I don't control it. Yep. Maybe I'm on the inside of the matrix, trapped, and she's escaped the matrix and can see it. Maybe. Okay, let's go to my next one.